Alright, hello, this is Kevin McCain with Idaho Art Classes. This is for the intermediate, the beginning drawing 2, part A, folks. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing some intermediate construction shapes, or using construction drawing. So, construction drawing is, and we just construction, just like it sounds, like, construction hats or construction workers. And basically with construction, we're going to be using simple shapes like the rectangle. We go ahead and get the triangle in there, and the circle. And with these types of shapes we can construct very, very simple sorts of objects. Like if I had, we can see this over here, if I had a simple bottle, simple wine bottle or something, it's going to be basically a sort of a rectangle. This may seem a little askew because of the way the camera is, but again, we'd have a little rectangle with a circle. Should have a center line whenever I'm drawing something with symmetry to it. And then from there we would have probably a triangle of sorts. And then on that triangle we would have a rectangle. Okay, that's a simple construction for a simple bottle. But there are certain times where we need much more advanced shapes. We're going to go to shapes where we're using the cubes and or boxes. We might be using pyramid shapes. We might be using cylinders. So we're going to start using 3D shapes for things that need to have much more complex constructions happening. And we also would throw the cone in there, for the 3D shape. So the cone as well, like so. So those are the times we're going to need those types of shapes to construct with. Right now we're going to be drawing a Patron bottle, and the reason why is it's it's an intermediate construction shape. And the first thing I have to figure out is what kind of box am I looking at? Am I seeing a front view box, which means with a front view box you see a true, or in other words, a one-point perspective box, for those that know perspective drawing. So it's either going to be a front view, or if it's not a front view, well then it's some sort of corner view, which would be a two-point perspective box. Draw this one over here. And so a two-point perspective box, or corner view, is where the corner is coming forward. That's a two-point perspective box. This is a different rotation, but it's a box where we're seeing the corner, and the right and left side are going to vanishing points. So a corner view box. Okay. So we need to decide what we're dealing with this bottle, because the bottle is basically a rounded box meets a pyramid meets a cylinder, and so we need to use some 3D shapes. So as I'm looking at this, I've got the fact that this has, maybe I will move this over here, but we've got a corner box, and so I'm going to go ahead and make the corner box for this little guy. And it's got an angle going more extreme to the right and less to the left. I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to send you some photographs of the bottle so you can draw from it. It may not be the exact same view as this, but it'll be a similar view. I believe it's in a corner view, the one I took. And so you can go ahead and try do your very best, try and draw it as well as you can, using this construction idea. So again, we're going to start off with our box, and I'm trying to make sure that my corners are lining up. And I'm not going to get out I'm going to do this by hand. I'm not going to necessarily get out a ruler or anything like that. So I'll try to scoot over here just in case I'm in the way of the camera. because I get comfortable and all of a sudden my shoulder is blocking the view of the camera over here. So we're going to go ahead and draw our box over here. We got that angle going to the left, this angle going to the right. Like so. Drifting in and out of the camera apparently. Feels like the corner, so I need the back corner as well, so that's what I'm doing. I'm drawing the back corner. This is glass, so I could actually see it, but I need it for the construction. This is probably a different pencil. Okay, so it's right here is the back corner. And then this here is the front corner, and this here is the side, this corner over here, and this is this corner over there. And so we need the bottom plane for this next, for the next part of this construction. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that the base of my box here is correct. Seems like this is a bit different angle. It looks like it was opening up. If I took it out, it looks like it was getting further apart. So that would drop this down to there, would now be the corner. And then this corresponding angle here would be just a little bit softer once I've done that. But I'm pretty satisfied with that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and go from this corner here to that corner there. Whoops, come on. Like so. Then this corner here, to this corner there. Like so. Let's go ahead and make sure we've got this one. Right there. And this is sort of bending down a little bit in the middle. So we're gonna go ahead and mark it right there. As far as that goes. Okay. I'm then going to come up here, and again I'm going to make and these little dots, I don't necessarily make these in my drawing unless I get lost. Like if I've got 6 lines there, the little dot is just an indicator to say, hey, yeah, this is where you're supposed to be. That's the actual point you're supposed to be using. Because this is still we're in the sketch phase. This is trying to figure it out, so why not make things easier instead of making things harder? So again, I'm going to go ahead and make that over there kind of a wavy line, so I'm going to kind of split the difference on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, this is what's called a center line. So this, because remember this is, again, our box here. Try to get this rectangle all nice and pretty. Go to there. And then from here to here, whoops. Like so. And then from this point to this point. That's somebody's car horn going off out there. So that sounds like somebody's. There we go. Looks like they quieted it. So this is the spit, or in other words, like a barbecue spit, or it's like a bamboo skewer that we put down through the middle of like a marshmallow or something like that, as far as that goes. And so on top of this, so this is our little bottle over here, and on top of the box we have a pyramid, a rounded pyramid, and then we have a cylinder. And so what I need to do is I need to do the pyramid. Well, I need this center line for the pyramid, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up there and see how high the pyramid comes, and then on top of that pyramid you're going to go ahead and connect all 4 points of the box to the center point on the center line, and that's going to create a pyramid. Okay. Whoops. that line is rounding a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and, okay, so we've got our soft little pyramid going up onto this. Now we're going to cut this, so this is going to actually start to seem softer as we start to cut this off. So I'm actually going to use this higher point. I looked at it, I was like, I'll make it this other one. I think that was not the correct decision. So don't be afraid to, once you make a decision, go ahead and evaluate it. Do you think you got it right? I think this was a little bit, this will be better. And so this is just higher up on that, this is making me a taller pyramid. Okay, so that's all I did. I raised the pyramid up a little bit because I think it'll be more accurate by the time all this is said and done. The next thing is we're going to have the cylinder. Now the cylinder, most of this we need the 3D construction for this part. The cylinder, we're actually, now this is a true center line that I've got going up through here. So that means if this, this little bamboo skewer, which is now bending a little bit, we need to get this line back in, make it straight. That's better. We're gonna go ahead. We can use a rectangle because a flattened cylinder is a rectangle. So I'm going to use this center line, and we're going to go ahead and try and make sure that this is the same distance, both to the right and left of the center line for this bottle. And so we're going to bring this rectangle up on both sides of this thing. Now it looks like it's a little further on this side than this side, so if that's the case, I'm going to check it for symmetry. Alright, now these are going to become an ellipses at some point and turn that into a cylinder, but for right now, we said, this is all we need. So on top of that cylinder, we then have another cylinder. And it's a very small cylinder. This is where it flares out for the sort of the top part of this thing. Okay. And then we have, the cork coming into this. So again, we're going to have sort of the back of the cylinder be, or the back of the ellipse be back here. So we're going to create an ellipse on here. So this is going to be this is the front, the thickness. This looks like just a rectangle with a line down it, but this is going to be the length of that ellipse in a couple minutes. And so then all we need to do is we're going to take this and we're going to go ahead and cut this in half for the major axis. So these are my major axis points for that ellipse. And so then on the center line, that's where our minor axis is. I can see this point is not the same as that, so this needs to be the same distance, so we're going to lift that up. And then we're going to go ahead and make an ellipse on here, and so we're going to go ahead and make this into an arc, make this into a soft arc, go ahead and make this into a C curve, make this into a C curve, and then we're just going to connect this. We're going to go ahead and connect this as far as that goes. So hopefully I'm not in the way. I keep getting a little nervous that I might be in the way as I'm drawing this, so I'm going to try to kind of lean back over here. Alright. And I need to also make sure that this is symmetrical right to left. So I'm taking a measurement here, and I'm going to go ahead, measurement there, and then bring this over and make a measurement there. It's close, but it's a little bit, needs to move just a tiny bit. So all right, so we have our ellipse right there. That's a little pointy right through there. This has to kind of take that off, because there's just a little bit of a point right there on the end of it. That's a little better. So there's our ellipse, and then this is going to have a thickness, and then this is going to become an ellipse. Right? Alright, so now we've got that double ellipse happening there. And then we can go ahead and put on the ellipse where the cork is, and there's a thickness to this glass, so the cork, you know, there's a thickness to it, so it can't be sitting right on the edge. Obviously, so we're going to come in a little bit from there. The cork is going to come down like so, and then we're going to put this over. Now I am simplifying this bottle a little bit. If we actually looked at this, this is like flat, like it's a coin sitting on top of there. But there's actually, it's rounded, so there's a ridge, and then it goes down at a slight angle, like, you know, so it's like a very, very soft cone. For right now, we're not going to lose sleep about that. We're not going to worry about it quite so much. So there's a time where people will say, hey, that's my artistic prerogative. Well, whether or not I decide to go ahead and make this with that depression, in other words, going down a little bit, that's an artistic prerogative. Saying I'm not going to draw this symmetrically is not an artistic prerogative. So, again, I'm trying. Hopefully, I'm not in the way as I'm drawing this. So that's our little ellipse right here. This is the opening going down into the bottle. As far as that goes. Alright, and then what we're going to do, this pops up right through there, through the ellipse. That has to leave. If you keep seeing the back of my head, I really apologize. I'm trying to stay out of the way so we can see what's been done here. So I'm just going to move over a little bit, hopefully just to make sure that, again, I'm not in the way every time I try to get something nuanced like this. Like I keep leaning in because I know I'm trying to get this ellipse just right, and so I want to make sure I'm not in the way. Now this, I didn't do like a proper ellipse with a major axis, and so this is a terrible ellipse. It's so we could go ahead and put a line down here. That would be the major axis points right through there, you know, and then we could go ahead and put the minor axis points, which are on the center line of that thing, and then we could go ahead and go, well, let's see, this has got to come around there, and then this has got to come around here. You know, we start to put an ellipse on there. Start to create that ellipse. Now the back side, I just do it to make sure that the front side is right. So I would erase the back side off. You know, that's just to help me in the drawing of it. And again, it's a little flat at the back. And if I was actually going to see all of it, well, I'd worry about it. But right now, again, what I was worried about is right here where it turns. You know, where it turns through that ellipse. That's why I draw through the back of it, is to make sure that this has that nice hook for that. And remember that the sides meet right at that major axis point. So that's right as it turns. That's the middle of that hook. And usually what happens is that they don't hook enough. They don't have actually, so it looks like it's not really round. It doesn't feel like an ellipse. And so that's why we want to do that, so that we get this with a proper rounding on it. So then on the top here, this is just circular. Okay, so we go ahead and, wow, So let's go ahead and try to do a little bit better circle, shall we? All right. All right, so now we got the basic idea of this Patron bottle. Now, again, there's going to be a place where we're going to go ahead and round this out. So this rounds up into there, into the neck. I'm assuming we might call this the throat or something, but anyways, that's the neck of the bottle. So we're going to round that out. It's also, again, it's gonna round a little bit, you know. And we can also, if you're like, well, I feel like I could deal with it. Well, you can also start to put the fact that this is, again, a slight cone, so this comes down a little bit. That means this would dip down a little bit. And if you're not quite sure how to do it, don't worry about it. But what you do is you basically put another lip here, and then you have it come down to the opening, so you actually have two more ellipses that you'd use to show that, and then there'd be the ellipse here where this cone meets the neck and the throat. And so again, it's if you can do it and you understand it, go ahead and give it a shot. If you're like, I don't think so, well then just leave it flat. Most people would know the difference. Okay, so this is going to round through here, and then this, we're going to cut the corner. Then we're going to come down here, and again, this is a point, so we're going to cut the corner off, just like we're taking this on a bandsaw or something and just cutting this out of a block of wood. There's a lot of the more advanced sorts of stuff. You're usually using a block, you know, and from that block, you're literally carving it up, just like you would doing something in a wood shop or something, carving away the block. And that's what we're doing. We're carving off all these different corners. This again would round through here. This again would round through here. Okay, so, and that's how we do this Patron bottle. Now we need to round this corner. This corner's been rounded this way, but it also needs to round this way on the right, and it needs to round this way on the, on the left, and this way on the right. So we need to round that off, and we do the same thing down here, that this would round off through there. This needs to round a little bit better, but it's pretty close. So again, we could just go ahead and start to round this off, and this is round as well. It's not straight, so it's, you know, so it rounds, you know, again, this rounds through here, right? This rounds a little bit through there. That rounds a little bit through there. You know, any of these straight lines are going to be slightly rounded. These lines down here are going to round a little bit, and so forth and so on through there. You know, but now we've got the basic idea of this Patron bottle being constructed from the cube, the pyramid, and the cylinder. And you know, it's not a bad looking bottle. Now, at this point, we're still not done. This is still where we're getting it roughed in. So don't be afraid to go, like back here, it seems like the neck got a little bit long. Well, I can always raise this. Basically, I'm raising that pyramid, raising the sides, and then round it back. Again, if that's what it looks like, well, that's fine. And you just do it on this side too. You come over here. Okay, that's then going to come over here. You know, again, you just round that off. Not a big deal. It's if you have to change it a little bit, well, then change it. Don't be afraid to. Don't be so afraid that you're going to screw it up that you leave a drawing that you're not happy with. So again, we've raised this up a little bit, raised this up a little bit. You know, and again, now we've got, you know, a fairly nice Patron bottle. Let's say we got here and we said, well, it feels like it's a little skinny. Well, then again, we can just push this out a little ways. Push this one out a little ways. So you're going to do both sides. You're not going to, unless you think it's horribly asymmetrical, but you know, like it's wonky or something. But if I'm going to add a little bit to this side, I'm going to add the same amount to that side. And again, you just, you know, bring this corner over, round that corner off, bring this, you know what I mean? Just modify it. Not a big deal. But again, now we've got something where I think this one, again, it does need to be a little bit thicker on this side. And, you know, so again, I could go ahead and check a couple things. I think this was actually out of symmetry just a little bit, so I wouldn't add to that side. I just add a little bit to this side. And then that's it. You know, we'd go ahead and, well, we'd extend this line a little bit. This would then round off back here, because of course this is moving too, the same amount of space. This would round off through there, like so. And again, I'm trying to stay to the left of this, so I can't tell because I'm kind of drawing a little bit in perspective. So I was trying to check to see where it is on the center line, right to left, but this is pretty close. So go ahead and try to draw that Patron bottle using this technique, and send me what you've got. All right, take care.